Hey, it's time for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 105.
This is TWiP.
Hey, folks, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. Today, in honor of last week being Women's Week, or, you know, the time during the year where we celebrate women, this week, the critique topic was celebrating women. And in honor of that, we were able to bring a living, breathing, real live woman on set via Skype to help us sort all this out. Here, sitting next to Troy Miller, is Kiera Ellen. Hey, Kiera, how you doing over
Hi.
How you guys
Good,
doing?
how are you?
Good. Thanks for gracing us with your presence today and making your way into what looks like the Batcave over there. And sitting with Batman.
It's a little dark, but it's nice and creative in here, which is cool.
Hey, that's Troy's personality. Dark but nice and creative.
Sums it up,
We like dark. We like dark.
You like dark. Well, cool. All right, so what we're going to do today is step through the images that have been submitted into the community. Like I said, this week's topic was celebrating women. And Kiera, thank you for coming on because we'd love to get your perspective. Also, just a little bit of note on this. We talked a little bit before we started recording. And normally what we've been doing is Troy has been sort of going through and editing some of the images and putting his spin on it. We decided that's a little bit tricky for this one because these are family members and loved ones and stuff. And, you know, probably not the right thing to be poking on people's faces and stuff like that. So in absence of that, he's still going to do a retouch, but it's going to be on an image that he owns and has dominion over. Right, Troy?
Right. Plus, you know what? Admittedly, all the images that were submitted are pretty amazing. And short of me putting borders on everything, I don't really know what else I would do. So
yeah, exactly. Because what image doesn't need a border? There's one in there that I think would look great as black and white. And I'm curious if you're going to say that. I'm not going to tell you which one. I'm curious if you're going to say the one that I think should be black and white.
I'm looking now. I'm like, I think they would all look good in black and white.
Like, I need none of this stinking color.
You know.
All right. Well, cool. Are we? You guys ready to dive in?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. I'm going to bring up the images. The first one is from Alicia, and Alicia submits this image. Look at that.
Nice.
That's
Very
awesome.
nostalgic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is her mom from the caption.
I like that. I like that leopard pattern back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the tones are sort of in that leopard warm, blacks, browns, whites, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, and I really like how that pattern, like just sort of the whole color palette really matches her hair super well. And I love seeing all that texture and detail because hair takes forever to work on. And so it's nice to sort of see it, you know, like framing her face and working with the color palette. It's really nice. I'm
gonna jump forward and channel Troy Miller, and Troy Miller is gonna say something about the umbrella. Are you gonna say something about the umbrella, Troy?
Well, I see that pattern in the top right-hand corner that I think is distracting to me. And I also think like the overall image could come down quite a bit. So look at that highlight that's on her left eye, camera right. Let's bring the whole image down so that is not as hot, and let all the shadows go a little darker and it'd be a little bit more dramatic. Yeah. But I like that. No, the umbrella doesn't bother me because I know what it is.
Yeah. I'm getting lost in the image. This is really cool. I love the detail in there. Alicia did very light-handed. Like her mom's face doesn't look plasticky, right? It still looks like skin. It looks like a human. Her teeth aren't brightened to, be, typing paper white or anything. It's there's still humanity in there, and there is not very many traces of the artist having done work there, right? It looks very natural.
Right. And I love the fact that both eyes are in focus, so there's enough depth of field to maintain that, which is good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Alicia.
Bravo.
Next shot is from Amy Brooks. Look at that one.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it says I want to go to school at the bottom.
Oh, wow.
So So it's a very powerful piece, speaking to, whatever culture that is.
Mm-hmm. And I would encourage the TWiP Pro members, to go read. We're not, in the interest of time, we're not reading all the captions and all the backstory for all these images. We're just judging these on the merits of their technical proficiency or execution and composition and all that stuff. But there's some pretty amazing captions that are written with these, that if you're in the community, you can go ahead and read them in the photo critique gallery.
Right.
When I first looked at this one, my first glance was, hey, what did she do here? This is a mural? Is this a mural? And then she went ahead and there was an actual person walking in front of the mural that she then ran some effects on or did a painterly application to make it look more like an illustration? Or is the whole thing an illustration about wanting to go to school, and this was the figure in the background maybe was the mom of the figure in the foreground or something like that? That's where my mind went initially, especially looking at it from a distance and seeing the bright pop of pinks, blues, and greens on the foreground character and the muted monochromatic cooler blue and grays of the rear character. Did you guys see that at all?
Yeah, I really love the contrast of color. And I think without sort of knowing the entire background of the image, it could get very meta, like, well, who is the girl in the back?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the girl in the foreground? To me, it you could almost tell the story that maybe the girl that's in the mural in the background could maybe be the girl that's in the foreground's younger self. The girl that wanted to go to school, didn't have a chance to go, maybe times have changed. And so now she's able to go to school. But, regardless of what the full story is, there's definitely a story to be told here. Yeah. And I think the use of color in this way is super, super powerful. I think it's a really cool image.
Yeah. It feels all illustration to me. I think it's all illustration. And if it's not, if that's a live person in the front left, kudos to your painterly effects on that. But I think it's all a mural, which I think is just an amazing capture anyway, and it tells such a great story, especially around this time.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, very good, and a great shot to follow the topic of celebrating women. So very good.
Right,
that's awesome.
Right.
All right, moving on to the next shot. This one's from Armando Brook.
Oh wow!
Look at that.
So pretty.
Armando always has like really vibrant colors in his shots. So we're always like super excited to see Armando's images because we know that they're very, very punchy in color. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. It has a border. I love that.
2 brownie points already.
Blatant pandering.
Win for Armando.
And it's got a little bit of a chin down there. You see that? We
don't need to see any more images. This is it.
Oh man.
This is it. This is the winner.
Yeah, no, this is such a gorgeous image. I mean, right when it comes up, it really pops. I love the color. I love the texture. There's a lot going on, like in terms of foreground and background, but I feel like they're balanced enough to where I'm not, like, I know what to look at first, and then I can like explore and look around, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Right. I would love it if the bottom center of the curtain was burned down a lot, because I think that highlight in there is really distracting from her face. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I really love about this image is the tones in her face, the actual face, right, is sort of warm tones, and then the reflection is opposite on the color wheel. And so it's sort of that mirror, not only just the mirror effect, but also in color. So I like that blue that's going on in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the red dot and the bright curtain pull that down.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's just a little bit distracting.
The red dot is killing me.
Is that messing with your OCD?
Yeah, it's like
I like the fact that he always nails the sharpness in the eyes, which in a portrait, is usually the first thing we look at. Right. And then I love the reflection on the other side, just it's showing one eye, which gives it that little bit of off balance and mystery in there. I like that a lot. I think he did a really good job on this.
Yeah, and these are one of those kind of shots where when you're in the moment, when you're there photographing, try to think about the final product as much as possible. So, have her move right next to the glass, have her move away from the glass, because it changes the dynamic so much. But yeah, what a wonderful shot. I really love this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very good. Congratulations, Armando. Good job.
Nice presentation.
Border.
Kira, wait, I gotta switch to Kira back here. We gotta talk about this. Kira Miller, you're a designer. You are the trained designer with clients up the wazoo and all that. Your dad has an unnatural relationship with borders and key lines around images from a design perspective. What do you think about that? And don't try to hold back to save his feelings.
Wait, let me insert my hand so she.
Well, it's funny because while I do have a background in design, I've also sort of been in the photography world for, obviously as long as I can remember. So I've also been around image competitions, and the idea of like a key line and a really nice background, at least from my perspective, stems from those competitions. So I can kind of see both sides. I know where it's coming from. I do think artwork, whether it be design or photography, needs to be presented in a way that it sort of best puts that artwork forward. And for him, it's a border and a mat and a key line. It's I'm more of like the modern, like keep it super clean. I don't
yes.
Borders and such, but
wait. I just want to Troy. I want to go on record to say, see how she slipped that in there? She said she's more modern than you are. So.
Well,
and she brought up hair in one of the previous images, which I noticed. Yeah, they're very subtle. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Good. I had to put you on the spot for that, Kira.
I know you did.
All right.
All right. So our next shot up is from Mr. Craig Stampley. Let's see. Look at that. That's Craig's wife.
Wow.
Nice. That ring light does that effect on the pupils, and it just like pierces right through you. And I'm curious from a portrait photographer standpoint, Troy. I know there's no rules in photography, obviously, especially portraiture, but is there a rule for or against showing the ring flash in the pupils?
I think that there's probably some, what are they trying to think of? Like some legend, like some ideas that people have that, you have to have only one catch light, or you can't show the reflector or whatever. I think in this case, it's perfectly implemented. I think you want to see that, and I think it's artful to see that. The other thing that I really love about this image is the super shallow depth of field.
Yes, I love that.
That is really good. And this is a lot harder to do than a lot of people think, because if she had turned her head slightly left or right, it would throw one of her eyes out. Because if you notice, her nose is out of focus almost to her bridge, which is close to her eyes, and her lips are in focus. So this is really super hard to do. This is stuff that I don't try to do at weddings because I don't have time. I usually do like one eye and turn the head so that I can have nice shallow depth of field. Yeah. But this is an image, and I know Craig is intentional, but this is an image that I think would look amazing in black and white.
I knew you were going to say that, but this isn't the one I was talking about. I knew you were going to say that because I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah, this is because of the stoic expression and the kind of smile, and the sort of breaking that fourth wall where you're looking right dead into the camera and you're looking at me and stuff. And I really feel like, I don't know, Kira, what do you think?
I agree.
Whoa!
I wouldn't put a key line over it, but I would.
Thank
black
you.
and white. No, I think black and white would look really cool for this. I mean, if for nothing else than just to sort of keep your eye on her eyes, which I feel like is such a big part of whatever story is being told here. Because I kind of gravitate from the eyes to the earrings and then to the red ultimately. So I think a really nice black and white would be awesome. But it's a cool image nonetheless.
And I want to add that that little hair that's coming down over her left eye, camera right, I would not take that out.
No, yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yep.
Because it adds that sort of that human element, the less than perfect element that you could force an image to be, right? Like every little minute detail, and there's a place for that. I love that hair there. It makes it feel very human.
I wonder if this is the look that she gives Craig when he comes home with yet another piece of camera gear.
Well, there could be that, right? Like,
Make it his phone background as a reminder.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Should I buy this? Let me look at this picture real quick and see. Maybe I won't. Oh, that's cool. All right, Craig Stampley, thank you, sir.
Yeah, wonderful image.
And the next shot up is from member Freddy Sedano.
Freddy.
Look at that. This is a supermodel, right? This has got to be a supermodel.
Yes.
Who is she?
Yeah, who is that? Do we know who she is?
Well, this is interesting because this is an example of, so here's Craig Stampley's, right? And this is more of a editorial shot that you might see in a magazine where they're doing some sort of vignette about this person, and you know, and this one is clearly on the glamour, fashion, perfection side. So not a hair out of place, everything meticulously, done with intent, right, on this shot. So it's very well and professionally executed.
Right. And it's definitely two different ways of editing an image. Neither one are right or wrong, and they're both beautiful. But certainly, what does Kira think?
Yeah, it's funny because I know Brie, and she is so good at doing her makeup. Like, she loves it. I don't have that skill level or that talent. But I think it's really cool seeing sort of Craig's image versus Freddy's image. They tell, from my perspective, maybe the personalities of two women, like, what you can sort of show in a photograph. I know that this is very much Brie's personality. Yeah. So I think that's really cool, sort of seeing those two different sides. Yeah. Photography wise, I like that her eyes are the, the first thing I look at. I can see that her hair is like really well put in place. And I like the pop of color on her lips too, just because everything is very dark. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I like the in comparison to, say, this shot with the circular catch lights from the ring light. I love the giant soft boxes on her dark pupils in this one because it just makes them feel like pools of eye in there, right?
Yeah, those reflections.
Yeah, I love it. Cool shot.
Yeah, I would suggest that, when you're doing an image like this, that you have to be careful when you're masking out the background. So this background has been clearly masked out. Like, you can see right above the part in her hair, those little tufts of hair at the top. That's not natural. And the way that the edge of her hair is perfectly, cut around the right and the left, it's masked. And so it takes a lot of skill to make it look natural and to mask each hair just so. We should do a
tutorial on that, on masking hair from difficult backgrounds, right? Because at some point it becomes like if the background is high frequency, like a bunch of trees with leaves on them, and you have somebody with dark hair blowing in the wind in front of it, that's hard, right? Versus someone with dark hair on a overcast day sky, right? So.
Right, and you just have to look at the image and just ask yourself, like, is this natural? There's clearly a vignette from the bottom, and I would just be really careful with that. Like, more gradation in the vignette, or hand paint the vignette in so it becomes less noticeable. Yeah. So again, that's just sort of the telltale signs that somebody touched this image.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. And we always say, or at least I always say, when it comes to retouching, you don't want to look like you've been there, right? So, at what point is that okay? Like, editorial, even if if people are like, well, this one was probably touched up a little bit, but it's okay because it looks fantastic. Like, or from an artist standpoint, should it always be, I need to leave some realism in there so that the viewer assumes that this was the reality of what was in front of the camera?
Sort of from my perspective, I think that, whatever level of retouching that you decide to do, as long as it doesn't distract from, the main story or the subject of the image, I think that it can work really, really well. I think we've all seen like the images or the memes of images that have been retouched like so poorly that you just get distracted by the poor retouching.
Right.
So if it's done well, even I think in an extreme sense, it definitely has a place.
And I think it's like bad retouching is the equivalent of a B movie with bad special effects, right?
There you go.
But I think it's also being loyal to your subject and your client. So, if you're photographing a woman or a subject and she really wants to have a lot of work done because it's for a particular style, like do that. Mm-hmm. But if it's not, then don't go too far and make sure that your subject knows and approves what you're going to do. I mean, we've all seen the stories of over-edited celebrities on covers of magazines and things. The same thing goes for your clients. Don't assume that they want you to remove every blemish.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that might not be appropriate. I'm very sensitive to that with my brides.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, in the editorial world, people are getting more, they're getting smarter about what is retouched and, what's real and what isn't. And so, pushing it too far, I think in an artful sense, it has its place. But I think people really appreciate sort of seeing the natural person. Whether that means a lot of makeup or not, I mean, that's their call. But
I think times are different too. Like if you go back in time before all this Instagram and filters and amazing cameras in our phones, it was not that people were ignorant, but there was less of an understanding of what could be done with retouching. And you look at an image and assume it was the truth. Whereas over time, now we look at an image and we're rightly suspect of the image. Like, okay, is this really how this person looked? Even if you get a selfie shot from someone, like, really? Is this really you?
Yeah.
Do you really have those cheekbones, really?
There's a few publications that I follow where their testament is that they don't do any retouching. Mm-hmm. And that's why a lot of people are drawn to, their photos or their content, because they know what they're getting is from what they say 100% real. And I think depending on the platform and the audience, a lot of people can appreciate that. Yeah,
no, for sure. All right, well, cool. Well, Freddy Sedano, thank you for sharing Bree with us. It's awesome.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Bree.
All right, next shot is James Glennie. That one.
Oh, that looks fun.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, we all want to be there right now. I was talking to someone, and like these beach scenes remind me of like, okay, this is a safe place to be now on the planet because it's ultraviolet light and salt water and fresh air and breezes is inhospitable to viri, right? So
and hopefully no one else is there.
Yeah, exactly. unless some sick person is coughing on you right next to you. No,
amongst the whole beach.
Yeah, this is a cool shot though. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is so cool. I love her expression. She's obviously having, what looks to be like an awesome time. And it just feels so natural. It just feels so fun. It's awesome.
Yeah. The expression is everything here.
Yeah, it's interesting because we very rarely see images of the beach with somebody bundled up like this, right? It's for some reason that like I always see beach shots. It's always somebody frolicking in the sand or running or something like that. Never do you see like, okay, this is what Northern California actually feels like.
I actually feel like I can relate to this image a lot because I'm the person that gets super cold if like a gust of wind goes by. So her attire is usually me at the beach like during the summer. So I can relate.
And I'm noticing her boots. Those don't look like those are serious go out in the weather boots. I think I don't think those aren't like just a fashion statement. I think those are like serious.
Although
go out and be in the cold. They're very cute. Yeah,
they are nice.
Yeah,
you would wear those boots, Kira?
I would, especially to the beach. Keep my feet warm.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That's awesome.
James Glennie, thank you so much for this shot.
Great shot, James.
All right. The next shot up is from the beach. The next shot is from Lamb. There's Lamb shot.
Oh, wow.
And remember our topic, celebrating women.
Yeah.
So in his caption, he was talking about how this is anybody can in his country, anybody can participate in sports. There are no gender restrictions, and this is an example of that. He said this is one of the prime examples of that, boxing.
Right.
That's so awesome. That is so cool. I love the, it's obviously very photojournalistic, and I don't know, I feel like there's such a big story to tell here, but even this small snapshot just feels very empowering. It feels really cool to sort of see, women doing these things. It's awesome. I love this.
Yep. Yeah. Great timing. I love that the fact that, culturally for us, and Lamb's images for us are always sort of a cultural dessert, because we don't get to see all the stuff we do normally in his images. So I love the mix of what we see here. Yeah. So great timing, great composition. I struggle a little bit with the ropes being so pervasive in this shot, but that's the nature of this image, though. I love the fact that her face isn't obstructed. Both of their faces aren't obstructed. The lighting is really, really good. There's lots of texture. Compositionally, it's really solid. So, yeah,
those ropes don't really bug me too much, because I like what he did with whether this was intentional or not. Well, you've got the two ropes in the blue ropes in the foreground, and then the two ropes or bars in the background, and then the boxer and the woman, refreshing her with the water are kind of sandwiched in the middle of those. So I get that layer stacking that he did here. It's actually kind of cool. It's a compositional element, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's nice that the background is out of focus a little bit. Yep. So if it was sharp, I don't think it would work. I think it would work, but it would be too much. So this actually has a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, which is so important in our imagery.
Yep.
So, bravo.
Very nice. Thank you, Lamb. All right. And our next shot up is from Laura Patton.
Ooh.
Oh, that is super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like it's raining, too, in the shot.
I don't know. When I look at the shot, I hear Eyes Wide Shut theme song playing in the background. It's very ceremonial and kind of, what's going on here? Why are they out in this wetness with torches? It's worrying me.
So many questions.
What are you summoning, ladies? What are you?
Yeah, this is really, really, really cool. I wish it had a little bit more color in the fire, a little more warm, and I'm guessing there was a lot of warm in there that was probably pulled out. So. To bring some blue into the sky, but I love the composition of this. This seems very mysterious.
Yeah, and I really like the shadow and the highlight detail. I think in a couple places the highlights could probably be toned down just a little bit to help your eye focus in certain places. But I think overall the shadows on their attire, on their legs, on their feet, on the ground, their arms, I think that's so cool. There's a lot of depth here.
Yeah, the reflections add a lot. That wet ground, just being able to see a little bit of their feet in the reflection, I think is super cool. Very solid,
it's
very good.
Purposefully contrasty, and look at the sky with the long exposure effects of those stars. See how they're kind of stretched a little bit.
That's rain.
Is that rain?
That's rain.
Could be stars. Stretch.
It can't be stars. No, stars don't stretch that way.
Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah. It would take a long time to get that exposure to get those to stretch like that.
Right.
Unless that was put in later, Troy Miller. See? There you go.
Well, it's quite possible, but stars generally don't stretch vertically.
That's true. That's true. Unless they were put in later. Would you say, Kira, not on this planet?
Everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah. What is that planet? There's a planet that spins sideways. Which one is that? Is that Neptune? I think it is. One of them spins on its side versus horizontally, like we're accustomed to.
We do not know that information.
We're nodding. Yeah, right now.
Oh, you guys have never been out in space? What's the matter with you? All right. Went back. Let's go back this way. And then the next shot is from Mark Harris. Look at that. Speaking of contrast, right?
Yeah.
It's black and white.
It's black and white.
There's no border though. There's no border, so.
Oh,
That's okay. That's all right.
I did a wedding where they had a woman doing that, a dancer doing that. It was insane.
At the wedding? Really?
At the wedding, yeah.
Was it for Cirque du Soleil people or something? What was it?
Well, it's a longer conversation, but they did this whole drum theater. It was amazing. I can't even describe it. But yeah, they had this going on in the background, and I was scared the whole time because she just was flipping and twirling, and I mean, the physique is amazing. So
the muscles they have, I just can't fathom. It's amazing.
Right.
It's crazy. It's
amazing. No, I do. I mean, like the last image, but sort of applied in a very different way. The shadows and the highlights here are telling the story. I think it's really awesome. I'm not sure if this is just something that I'm seeing, but on the top of the image in the background, it looks like there's sort of like crown molding, or you can see like a ceiling kind of cutting through that top. And I think it would have been cool to see that black background just totally black. Can you see what I'm saying?
It looks like the background or something. It's a little gray.
It took me a while to see it though, so it's not it's not killing anything, but it is such a cool image.
I also would love to see more space below her. I love the fact that the lighting is more like a hatchet lighting in her face, and that her front facing portion of her body and her face is in the dark, and it's sort of an edge lit, rim lit, abstract. But I think more space below her would be nice. That would definitely give us a sense that she's up in the air.
Yeah, just to add to the vertical effect of it. Yeah.
And tell her to smile next time.
She's working.
She is smiling. She's just upside down, Troy. Come on.
Yeah, she's doing all this work, and you want her to smile. She can smile later.
See that? I'm seeing. Troy's the guy. Kira, was Troy the guy where you came home with an A? He's like, well, why not an A+? He's like,
well, there was a little bit of do better. But.
Yeah. What's the matter with you with this A stuff?
Right? Yeah, there's no plus next to that A. Don't show this to me.
Exactly. Come back when you're A+. All right, next shot up is from Mr. Mark Harris.
Oh, nice. Nice. This one would be really cool in black and white as well. But I think what I struggle with, I love the expression, and I love the hat and
wait. This is not Mark Harris. I was looking at the wrong list. This is Michael DeRay's shot. Sorry.
Yeah. But I think we need a little more light in the face.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, because the background's brighter than her face, and it's distracting from that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if there were a little bit more light on her face, we could see the textures on her face, the colors of her face, the colors of her eyes, and the face tells so much of somebody's story. And I think too that I don't really know how much color there is to be brought here, but like her necklace, the what looks to be turquoise, I think that would look really cool to see a little bit more of that. But yeah, just sort of seeing more detail in her face, I think would be cool. But
we could probably lose a little space off the left. Because
for me, it just seemed like it's a little bit like you were saying, maybe a quarter of a stop underexposed, maybe that, and it feels like just a little tick of clarity or something to make it pop out of there. It just feels like there's like a haze over it to me, over the shot. I'm not sure if it's me, but it just feels like just a little bit of a crank or something to make it pop more, or I don't know if that was part of the intent and the processing that Michael did.
Yeah, and one of the conditions of this image is that you were shooting into the sky, and the camera is going to pick up that sky, and that's just a conscious effort to know that, okay, well, I want to get some sky in there. I'm going to have to post-process this to bring the face up, or if you step a little bit to the left, shoot more into the barn or the building, then you don't have the sky to contend with, and the camera will, expose properly for her face. But I love that. I love that smile, the hat, the outfit. It's an amazing portrait.
Yeah, so much personality. This is a character study slash anyone that doesn't know this person looking at it instantly feels like this is a really nice person, and a nice smile, very warm, very welcoming. And then to people that do know this person, this is priceless, I would imagine.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And she feels very approachable, which I think is wonderful in this image.
Yep. All right, Michael DeRay, thank you, sir. And the next shot is from Mike Doran.
I love it. I love how Mike gets a motorcycle in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to see if he can get a motorcycle in the next critique, because that topic may not lend itself to motorsports. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I was just looking at the caption, and this is one of the fastest women on AFT dirt track. So
wow.
Gosh.
That's awesome. That's a killer shot. I wish we could see more female in there, but maybe it's cool that we don't, right? Because then she's just out there.
I don't see how you'd be able to see female with all that armor and the exoskeleton.
Yeah, man.
Maybe a ponytail. I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah. There you go.
I'm being facetious. I don't know.
No, this is so cool. I can't even fathom doing any of that and wearing all that stuff.
Troy used to do this though. Troy, didn't you used to do this, like ride like this?
Just like that?
No, that's a little bit scarier than what I would do. I was on dirt, so dirt was a lot easier. That's basically like being on pavement, and she's like in a permanent power sled right there.
Yeah, that is just crazy.
So,
look at the gravity and the forces of physics that are at work in this shot. Like, how fast does she need to be going to keep that bike of that weight and her weight up and going in the right direction? And she's looking where the bike is going. It's just, he snapped it right at the exact right second to get that shot. So
that is very cool.
Yeah, I love that we have motion in that front tire. That helps us a lot. Have a sense of speed and movement. So
yeah, dig it.
Yeah, great shot, Mike.
Super cool.
Yep. All right, and the last shot is from Tim Ingle. Look at that. This is a Tim Ingle original. And this shot just takes me back. I look at this one and I think film noir or something like that, right?
I feel like this would be like a shot from a show, like a period type show that I would be super into.
Yeah.
The lighting and the hair and the makeup is just gorgeous.
Like early 60s kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Troy, this is the shot that I thought would look amazing in black and white. This is the one I was talking about.
Yeah, I thought that immediately. Actually, like I said, to be fair, I love monochromatic. But to me, again, this is like one of those film noir, like you said, that would go really amazing black and white. I do love the fact, though, that like her bra is in the blues, right? And then the rest of the colors in the red. Mm-hmm. So I like the color play. And I think that's amazing. So you have the skin tone, you have the magentas of the couch and not her lips, and then the blue of her bra. And the color play is really, really nice. So you could do that.
Yeah, I really love how the couch and blanket detail match her makeup so perfectly. So, having her face against those colors just works so well.
I look at these shots like this, and Tim does a lot of these shots, but even, the non-Tim Ingle shots, and I always think like, okay, why is she there? Like, what is the reason for her laying in her bra, kind of in that position on the couch with that look?
Quarantine.
She's quarantined.
She's quarantined, yeah.
She's wishing she could go to the grocery store.
She wants to go outside, man.
I want human interaction. Oh, that's not even fair, though, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, this is cool. I love this shot. I love this shot a lot.
Yeah, it's great.
So that said, what do you guys think? You're back on camera. What do you think as far as a favorite?
Crunchy. Oh, there it goes. I like Tim's. What do you think? You like Tim's?
I like Tim's.
Is that the winner? We have to pick a winner.
Tim's is nice.
Yeah, that was my winner right there. I like that shot a lot.
I don't know. I think my very close second would have been that illustrative photo with the mural.
Oh yeah.
That was
cool.
Amy Brooks. So that was this one right at the beginning. That one, right?
That one, yeah. And that one is super powerful too, because culturally, some places women don't get the opportunity to go to school, depending on the time and the culture and the years, right?
And even still, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's the culture part. Yeah. So this is very poignant to the time and the strength of women.
Love it. All right.
Well, Kira to decide.
All right.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they're two totally different images. I think I would pick the mural one though. I think that would be my favorite, just because the story is so poignant, and just the way that the image was created, however it was done, I think looks really solid. So that would be my pick. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
You're on the spot. You're on the spot. All right. So you're picking Amy Brooks and Troy Miller. Are you picking that one or Tim's?
I'm going with the female judge today. You know,
The better choice.
the better choice.
Yes. The better choice will make the better choice. Okay, got it. All right, cool. Well, Amy Brooks is our winner then. I will go with you guys. I love that. I love both of them. I love Tim's and Amy's. They're all good. They were all, like we said at the beginning, there were really good submissions this week. This is a good topic. I think we should do more of that. Next week, since we are in the midst of, as we record this, who knows what March 17th will bring, but we're in March 16th now, as hell continues to break loose around the world. So everyone, like we've been alluding to during this show, everyone for the most part in lots of communities are on lockdown. You can't go anywhere, and even if you could go anywhere, there's nothing to go to.
Right.
So I figured the topic for next week we would call homebound abstracts. So homebound
like
abstracts.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So, walk around the house with your camera. That's your world right now, for better or for worse, over the next couple
I
of
got
weeks.
light on fire.
I was gonna say there's a lot to photograph here.
Yeah. In your house? Oh, yeah, my God. In that office, I see like 12 things right now.
Yeah. There's like 4 different materials in here, like all over the place.
Troy couldn't make a decision, so he chose all of them, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're all things I use. There's ceramics, and there's an anvil. There's metal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's a camera over there.
Hey, and I'm challenging you, Troy Miller. Kira, you're free to participate as well. Both you and I will be participating in next week's critique. So it's on. This is me dropping the gauntlet. Bring it on.
What's happening? I didn't hear that.
You need to submit an original image for the critique next week. Homebound.
No problem. I am going to go photograph my image right after this. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And it's going to include a flower. Just want to give you a little heads up.
Okay.
Yeah, don't be surprised if you see cat photos from me, because our cats are very excited that we're home all the time.
They're like, this is amazing. We need more of this virus stuff. This is great.
It is.
Well, I'll tell you, people out there that are looking for a reason to break out that macro lens of yours, this is an ideal time to walk around and get just shots that are just like, what the heck is that? And that was in my house.
Yeah.
Even the refrigerator, so you got mold growing in there, get some mold.
The textures, the things unseen.
Yeah, exactly.
What a good topic. Things unseen. That'll be later.
Yeah.
We'll do that one later. And if you happen to have an electron microscope, you know who you are. You are not eligible for this.
A bit of an advantage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what? My world is on the palm of my hand, and I'm just going to shoot things that are on the palm of my hand.
Right.
This is good. All right, so that'll be critique number 106 next week, 7 days from now, if all goes well. And so homebound abstracts. Homebound abstracts is for critique 106. All right, Kira Miller, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, this is great. You are welcome. As I've said, you're welcome on the show anytime. In fact, you could kick that guy to your left out of there if you want.
Push him out of the way. And then we'll go in my office.
There you go.
Got a very different vibe.
A little more modern, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, a little more cozy.
There you go. Sorry, Troy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine.
not sorry.
I built it, but that's okay.
You built it, but yeah. Well, that's how it goes.
So I can design things for him.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Kira, are you going to come on again next week and talk about your shot? Are you going to be around?
Yes, that means I'm committing to taking a shot. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my point. I'm putting a pin in it. You have to do a shot. Homebound abstracts. Let's see what you got.
And I'll hang out in your office next time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little smaller, gotta say.
There you go. But smaller's not always worse. It's the cruise ships and Asian countries have done amazing things with little space. So.
I'll have hand sanitizer at my desk. It'll be fine.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you.
All right. See you later. This is TWiP.